Hare Krishna. Hey, Hare Krishna. Can you hear? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I cannot hear you. Oh, okay. No. I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, let me put the big mic then. Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, I can hear now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
and let me know if everything is okay on my end.
Yeah, it's fine. I can hear you properly.
Okay.
My big mic, it's a professional mic. I think the sound will be better even.
Okay.
Let's see. Sundar hasn't come as yet.
It's okay.
Let me try to call him. See, perhaps let's see if he.
Give him a minute. It's okay.
So I'll stop it here. Yeah, I'm recording now. So yeah, unfortunately, it's the sad state of affair. We lost Sri Lata Devidasi. I mean, it's what to do. Huh? It happens sometimes in the beginning of courses. She, she's a bit elderly and she has some health issues. I hope perhaps she will join back. Who knows?
Yeah, she's 82.
She's 82. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one suggestion I can share with you is, since we are bilingual, English and French, because Sundar Prabhu is a French person. So at times, if you feel like shifting to French, Sundar Prabhu, if you feel more comfortable to sometime. Do you mind Arenishta Devidasi?
No, not at all.
Because she's quite good in French also.
I'm good at hearing and understanding, not so good at speaking.
Yeah. Anyway, for the time being, we are the only three. Okay. So let's sing a little bit. We're going to sing that song, but I thought just to break the ice a little bit, we can have a little kirtan, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Oops. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava
Jaya
Jaya
Kunda
Kunja
Vihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivardhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivardhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari
Yashodanandana Brajadararanjana
Yashodanandana Rajadana Raja
Yashodanandana Brajadararanjana
Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana
Yamunatiravanashali. Yamunatiravanashali.
Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe
Jaya Radha Damodara Radhe
Jaya Radha Govinda Madhav Radha Govinda Madhav Shri Radhe
Jaya Radha Govinda Madhava Shri Radhe
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Gaurani Tai Jaya Gaurani Tai Gaurani Tai Jaya Gaurani Tai
Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai
Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jai Shri Radha Damodar ki
Jai
Shri Radha Govinda Madhav ki
Jai
Krishna Balaram ki
Jai Ho
Ponitai ki Jai
Jai
Mad Bhagavatam ki
Jai
Sadhu Sat Sangha ki
Jai
Gopramanande.
Hari
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada.
Yeah, so Harinishta Devidasi, we sing Shri Radha Govinda Madhav because that's the local deities here.
Yes,
I
yes.
hope you don't mind.
Yeah. No,
Shri
no,
Radha
not
Govinda Madhav. And of course, your deities are, what are they called there?
Shri Radha Madan Mohan.
Wow. Like in Ujjain, Madan Mohan also.
Yeah.
Okay, and in Vrindavan also. Okay, so I propose that we sing that song. Perhaps you can, like she said, she made a very good point. We should sing one stanza each. Instead, this way they will be more beautiful, perhaps. So I'll start off with the first one. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedika Satpala Sarva Siddhant Ratnadya Sarva Loke Kadrik Pada Sava Bhagavat Pran, Srimad Bhagavat Prabhu, Kalidwanto Ditaditya, Shri Krishna Parivartita. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures, the most prominent transcendental fruits of all the Vedas, O you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of the Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us. Go ahead, Sudha Prabhu, if you want.
Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvadha Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostute. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself.
Would you like to read, Arinishta?
Yes. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguru Manmahadana, Manishtaraka Madbhagya, Mad Ananda Namastute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you.
Asadu sadutadayin atine chochatarakam hanamun shakadachin mam premnarit kantayos puram. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest on my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we're going to be reading the first verse together with Gaurang Prabhu. He has used a very beautiful meter. So I propose that we sing along with him. Can you see my screen?
No.
And now? I think you should be seeing it now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it together. So this is Gaurang Prabhu from Chopati Mandir.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditarataschartheshvabhigyaswaran Tene brahma hridayadi kavaye muhyanti yat suraya Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi. Who is the primeval cause, who knows everything, one who is independent, one who is enlightener, even to Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hrida Adi Kavaye. The original creator of the universe, Brahma, also gets help from him. He is that supreme. And then Muhyantiyat Suraya. He can bewilder even the greatest demigods. Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo. This material world is constantly changing, and he is the ultimate foundation for this material world. He is the creator of this material world. But he himself lives in Dhamna Svena, in the eternal abode, which is beyond this material world. So these are the 7 characteristics which define the absolute truth.
Yes. So it's a very good starter in the sense that this verse, which is capital for us, it defines the 7 features. We're going to see them one after the other. Before we do that, I would like to deal with one question we left unanswered from the previous session. It's, we didn't cover the homework last time, actually. And there's one particular question which is very dear to my heart. How does the Srimad Bhagavatam appear in this world? Try to retrace how it came about in our parampara. So we can have some, because we're only 3 of us now, so it can be very interactive. How would you say that the Srimad Bhagavatam appeared in this material world, not only this universe, but in the material world? How did it come about?
Well, I don't know about the material world. This universe, it was revealed in Brahma's heart. I mean, it was given to Brahma, to Brahma by Krishna.
Yes.
First of all,
I would say even prior to that, like, if we recall how remember Lord Brahma, he appeared on the lotus, on the stem of the lotus flower. Then he came down within the stem. I don't know if you remember that part. And then he went down very deeply. And out of fear, we have to admit, out of fear, he came back up. And then he heard that sound, tap. So he understood, yes, I have to definitely absorb myself into tap, austerity. And for 1,000 celestial years, he steeped himself within in total samadhi. And then he heard, what did he hear very clearly?
Krishna's flute.
Yes. So you know the answer, Prabhu. You want to carry on from here?
I'm not sure. He had darshan of Krishna, and Krishna gave him the 4 shlokas, 4 Chatur Shlokis.
Darshan he had much later, after completing the Visarga aspect. But he heard the flute of Krishna. And that transformed into, in his heart, that transformed into the Om. And then it's called the Mahavakya, basically. You can retrace this conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Sarasvati in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the Gayatri, actually, the son of Krishna gave the origin to the Gayatri. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So that Gayatri came out from the Vamshi of Lord Krishna, the flute. Then it entered Brahma's ear and came out from his mouth. And then it came out as
Chatur Shlokis?
Yes, Chatur Shloki. Param. 4 verses, which is basically an expansion of the Gayatri. Then we know the continuation. Arinishta, do you know the continuation after that?
No, I want to hear.
Okay, great. Sundar Prabhu, do you know what happened after that? I think you touched on it before.
So afterwards, Narad, he gave, Rama taught it to Narad Muni.
Yes, exactly.
Who was thinking that he was the creator, and Brahma said, no, I'm not the creator. So
yes.
he told him this Chatur Shloki. And then, of course, Narad Muni taught Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva taught Shukadev.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, Lord Brahma told Narad, Narad is the youngest son. he told him, you please expand on it. But Narad didn't do it. On the contrary, if you are a guru, if you have disciples, you can delegate. So he delegated to Vyas, and then from the 4 key verses, he expanded it into the whole 18,000 shlok. So this is exactly the state of affair of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Artoyam Brahma Sutranam. You may know this verse. It's Garud Puran. It explains beautifully the expansion of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right, so Garud Puran is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Trying to recall that verse. Artoyam Brahma Sutranam. Basically, it says Gayatri Bhashya Rupasyo Vedanta Paribrimitaha. It's a long verse. We try to find it for you. It says that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary of the Vedanta Sutra. Not only that, it is the purport of the Mahabharata. It's got how many chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you know? Oftentimes we know the number of shloks, yes, but how many chapters?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's mentioned. Let me try to find it, this verse. 361. Yeah, it's not given. Okay, I can give you the quote. It appears in CC, Madhya Lila 25:144. And let's try to find it. I know only a few bits and bits of the verse. Madhya 25:144. Artoyam Brahma Sutanam. No, it's not here. Arto Yam Brahma. Yes, I think we should find it now. Yeah, this is the verse. Artoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharata Vinirnaya. Yeah. So it's the purport of the Bhagavatam, the purport of the Mahabharata, sorry. Gayatri Bhashya Rupasyo. This is also the purport of the Brahma Gayatri. Actually, Gayatri is one of the wife of Lord Brahma. Vidarta Paribrimitaha. It is the expansion of all the meanings of the Vedas. Purananam Samarupa. It is the best Puran. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam. Sakshat Bhagavadoditaha. It was spoken by Srila Vyasadeva. And Bhagavatam is penned by Srila Vyasadeva. Dwadasha Skanda Yuktoyam, Dwadash, and Dwadash means Dwadashi, 12. So it's got 12 cantos. Shatavicheda Samyuta, 335 chapters. Granto Stadasha Sahasra, 18,000 shlok. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Garud Puran explained that verse. Okay. So before we get into those 7 characteristics as expounded by Gauranga Prabhu, we can perhaps deal with the Mangala Charan. Those 3 verses, 1 to 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are called Mangala Charan. So what is a Mangala Charan? Do you have any clue? Oftentimes, did you notice in Vaishnava literature, when a devotee starts a book, there is a Mangala Charan.
It's an auspicious invocation?
Yes. And a Mangala Charan has 3 components. And the verse is there in the Adilila 122. Se Mangala Charan I Trivida Prakar. 3 kinds, with 3 components. Vastu Nirdesh, Ashirvad, Namaskar. These are the three. I'll give you the quotes in your chat. Where's the chat? Okay. So the quote is Adi 122. You will find a definition of Mangalacharan. So what is the first one? Vastu Nirdesh. Do you know that term? Arinishta Devidasi? Vastu Nirdesh.
Nirdesh, no.
Vastu Nirdesh means what is the subject of the book? Whatever you write in life, there must be a Vastu Nirdesh. So you're trying to define the object. That is the subject of your book. So here, it's clear every day in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, we utter what is the subject of this book. It's a rhetorical question. What is the subject of the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, as simple as this. You cannot go wrong when you say Krishna. So yes, Krishna is a bird, because at the end, did you hear? Demna Svenasada. Damna means dam. So is a bird and is energies also. Shakti Matayo Abida. There's no difference between the Shaktimam and its energies, his energies. So it is obvious that when we write a book, the subject of the scripture is usually described first. So that is why Vyasadeva himself is speaking. The first three verses are spoken by Srila Vyasadeva. Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi. Srila Vyasadeva is Chakara, is the compiler. So this is very clear. Just like, remember, prior to Srimad Bhagavatam, which book did he write? Vyasadeva?
Did he?
There's three books that he compiled, that he penned. He penned himself. Srimad Bhagavatam is one, but prior to that, he had compiled.
Was it Mahabharat?
Yes. Actually, Mahabharat is further back. But between Mahabharat and Srimad Bhagavatam, he had compiled another book.
Vedanta Sutra.
Yes. The Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. These are the three books that Srila Vyasadeva compiled, actually. But even within the the Vedanta Sutra, you can still find room for being drifted away from Lord Krishna. That is why you know the story we discussed so many times. Fifth chapter, first canto, Narad told him, Jugupsitam. Can you imagine? Jugupsitam means abominable. It's quite a heavy word. He told him, what you have done, my dear Vyas, is entitled to tell him like that because he's guru, is Jugupsitam. You're telling it, can you imagine you're telling a disciple, your service is Jugupsitam. Jugupsitam means abominable. He's speaking to Shakara Bhagavan Rishi, he's speaking to an expansion of the Lord. So why, Arinishta Devidasi, why is telling him such a heavy word? Jugupsitam. He has written, he has compiled everything. He has broken the Vedas into 4, then Upavegas, Vedangas, Upanishad, Puran, major Puranas, Upapuran, the Samhitas. Can you imagine? Such a lofty task. And yet he's qualified, his work is qualified as Jugupsitam. Sundar Prabhu, you want to tell us?
Because you want to say, Mataji?
Well, what I know is he failed to describe the transcendental pastimes of Krishna.
Well,
Is that the
exactly.
reason?
It did a little bit, but not enough. In other words, Narad is telling him, and actually Vyasadeva acknowledges that you have given room for citizens, for prajas. Prajas means they are citizens of the state. You are giving them room to sidetrack, to get sidetracked in different areas of the Vedas, Karmakand, Jnanakand, Upasanakand. You give them some space. So in the name of religion, in the name of the Vedas, they may become bewildered and lost. Thus, it is Jugupsitam. That is why Krishna, very early in the Gita, what does he say? 245. Triguna Vishya Vida, Nischigunya Bhavajuna. He's telling him straight in the face, Arjun's face, go beyond the Vedas. Why?
Nishchegunyo Bhavaya.
Yeah.
Because they are dealing with the three gunas.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're not strictly Vedic per se. Technically, we're not Vedic. We are the fifth, Pancham Purusharth, the fifth bed, the fifth pillar, which is Krishna consciousness, basically. So, in other words, Jugupsitan, abominable, he got the point. He had no false ego, actually. Can you imagine if you are told by your guru, your seva is at Jugupsitan? Immediately, and we know the story, 174, we discussed the other day, he sat down in Shamyaprash. It's beautiful. I've never been there, but we can go to the earthly Shamyaprash. The celestial one is inaccessible to humans. But then he sat down and then he fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it in devotional service without any tinge of, obviously, of materialism. Then he saw Lord Krishna. So those 4 verses are key, 174, 5, 6, 7 even. He saw Maya behind. He saw the predicament of the jivas. He was on the threshold of Kali Yuga. So then, and he came up with what is the remedial measure? The remedial measure is Krishna Parampurushe. That particular literature, Shoka Moha Bhaya Paha, that's going to extinguish Shok, Moha, and Bhaya. Lamentation, fear, illusion, and of course is glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled at the time. Okay, so, and since we are there, I can already address one of the questions that I sent you. Don't mind, perhaps, I know it was a bit too much. I know I got some feedback already. You have to understand, what is the intent of the homework here? Is to, first of all, to get you to study, number 1. Number 2, to become absorbed. And even if you don't manage to answer properly all the questions, it doesn't matter in one sense, because we're going to again cover all this homework in the class. And number 3, I told you many times, I will draw for the closed book exam, I will draw from that question bank. So the more you are on top of the homework, the better you will fare for the question, for the closed book exam. So now, I had a chat the other day with Vaisheshika Prabhu, and we were discussing about a particular verse, which is, I want to touch it now because it's totally within the context. Remember, I wrote a question number 2, the maturity of Vyasadeva. So my question is, was there a time Vyasadeva was not mature? And I give a clue here, 178.
Well, what I answered is that Vyasadeva was always fully realized and he had compiled all the Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, Mahabharata, but still something was missing. He was not satisfied.
Yes.
It's only after understanding from Narad that he had not glorified enough Krishna directly that he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. In this sense, we can say that only at this point he had attained full maturity in his realization.
Yes, it is true, but thanks to Vaisheshika Prabhu, I learned something which I didn't know, and I got some ecstasy out of that, because first of all, let's read 178. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, this is important, he taught it to his own son, Shukdev Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. So what caught my attention here is revising it. What's the meaning of revising?
I mean, practically you edit it, no?
To revise means you have done something and you are revising it.
You correct.
Yes. So this is the point of Vaisheshika, which was quite mind-boggling, if you ask me. In other words, he had kind of written the Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you imagine? And he had a chat with Dravid Prabhu. I don't know if you know him. He's a very scholarly person.
Who?
Dravid.
Oh, Dravida Prabhu.
He's the one of the three who finished the Srimad Bhagavatam with Hridayana Maharaj and Gopi Pranad Prabhu, who left the world now. So Dravid Prabhu is still present. And actually, I got lucky enough to be part of that discussion. So it says here, 178, revising it, he taught it to his son. So the Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5,000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Puranas were compiled before Mahabharata. So in other words, then he's quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So this is quite amazing. This is the quote. First, Vyasadeva had made an abbreviated scripture about Bhakti. This is the first, it's a blueprint, let's say, of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But on the advice of Narad, he rearranged it. 178, Anukramya. See? Anukramya, by correction and repetition, purified it, giving more prominence to Bhakti to Krishna. So this is when he revised it, it's after the darshan of Narad. After he came to that Siddhant, yes, I have to definitely delve, I have to develop the Krishna Katha, the glories, the guna, the qualities of Krishna. So then he revised the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was previously written. So when we say, 1343, Krishna is Svadamupagate Dhamagyandibihi Saha Kalunashtadrishanisha Purana Koduno Ditaha. And you know that verse, very important verse. Lord Krishna, when he left, he took everything with him. Gyan, Vairagya, renunciation, religiousness. And he left behind that revised edition. This is the full-fledged of Srimad Bhagavatam that we have now on our shelves in ISKCON by the grace of Prabhupada. This is the revised edition. But what's amazing is that he had written a blueprint of it before, as explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So I just wanted to share that with you. Any question?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, Vyasadeva, who is a literary incarnation of Krishna, why
Yes.
he had to, what is the message, what is the reason behind to enact this pastime of not writing the Srimad Bhagavatam perfectly right away, but having this pastime of missing the important transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, and then Narad Muni instructing him, then revising. I mean, what is the reason behind doing
Okay.
this pastime? It's little bewildering.
Yes, many things are bewildering in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sundar Prabhu, would you like to shed some light on this?
No, I'd like to hear your answer. I would say maybe to give us some notice that we have to be careful about bridge preaching. Much bridge preaching. No, I mean, it was, I don't know. Please let us know, Prabhu.
Well, it's a tough question because I cannot put myself in the mind of Vyasadeva. He's himself the plenary portion of the Lord. I guess perhaps he wanted to glorify Narad because it's always important to be rectified by the Guru. It's a great lesson. We appear like a fool in front of the Guru. Even Vyasadeva himself, he appeared like a fool. He didn't speculate. He didn't argue. So I think it's an important lesson right there on Guru Tattva. Shraddhavan Jan, it's mentioned in the Shraddhavan Jan, the real disciple is he who is going to listen to the Guru. Is Shraddhavan Jan. That is his prerogative, is he loves to hear and to act upon. And actually, remember very clearly, he had come to that conclusion himself, Harinishta Devidasi. He had come to that conclusion before the appearance of Narad. And right out of the blue, Narad appeared, and then to corroborate. So in other words, when you do something, sometimes you are engrossed in doing something, and then as you do the thing, you realize that actually I'm a bit off. And then you rectify yourself. So there's no harm in going wrong if you are aware and you rectify it, That's the beauty of Vyasadeva. He could say, can you imagine? Vyasadeva is Shakara Bhagavan Rishi. He is partial. It can be a Jiv, yes. Most of the time is a Jiv, but it can be Vishnu Tattva also sometimes. When there's a lack of qualified Jiva, Vishnu will step in that post. So it's a great lesson of humility, I would say. And it's also, it's going to give rise to, because of that only, it's going to give rise to Narad expanding on his own life as Dasiputra. You understand? Same story with Parikshit. If Parikshit hadn't put the dead corpse of a snake around the Samikarishi, there wouldn't have been no Srimad Bhagavatam. So sometimes few devotees, they apparently do a little mistake, but it's for the sake of edifying humanity. Same with Arjun. Arjun is a Vishnu Parikar. How can he fall into illusion? This is my own humble reply.
I have another question, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
So we said that Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. So, and we hear that we cannot change a word of it. So how can we understand that he revised it, even if it's his own book? But it seems that he changed it then. He
revised, he expanded on it. He just, Vaisheshika Prabhu was sharing with me that he gave the blueprint. That's the word he used. Blueprint means l'armature. C'est un peu le
kind of summary.
The summary. So it was not at all finished. And remember, it is tricky because Srimad Bhagavatam, is it Smriti or Shruti?
Shruti, actually.
Yeah, but
Smriti, but it's Shruti. It's considered as a Shruti, eh?
Yeah, actually, technically it's Smriti because it's a Purana. So in Smriti category, words can be changed. It is mentioned, for instance, Ramayan. You know the size of Ramayan on Brahmalok? It's 1.5 crore shlok. So in other words, the scriptures are bigger on different planets, Bhagavatam included. Mahabharata. So even though, like you say, the words cannot be changed, but it can be expanded. So it's Smriti. In Smriti, you can adapt things, not in Shruti. Now it is Shruti, you're right. Why? There's a verse, 3:8, forgetting, beginning of the 8th chapter, 3rd canto. It's not our Sampradaya, it's Kumar Sampradaya. I don't know if you recall that passage. The 4 Kumars, they are offering prayers to Lord Shankarshan. Is in Yoga Nidra. He's totally in Yoga Nidra, transcendental Nidra, sleep. And finally, through like lullaby, they offer prayers. Lord Shankarshan wakes up, and then the 4 Kumars are going to inquire from him, please tell us Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the proof that Lord Shankarshan is Vishnu. So that's Shruti. And then from that line came through the 4 Kumars, Kumar Sampradaya, then you find Brihaspati, you find the guru of Maitreya Rishi. It's a different line, it's not our line. You find Parashara Muni. And finally, Maitreya got it from that line. So if you follow that genealogy, it is Shruti from that line. From our line is Smriti. Of course, you may argue Bhagavan Shakara Rishi Vyasadeva is expansion of the Lord, so is also Bhagavan in one sense. So it is both. Like Gita. Gita is both Shruti and Smriti. Because Mahabharata is Itihas, Smriti, but Gita is also Upanishad. So it's Shruti. Okay. So now let's go back to what Gauranga Prabhu was telling us. The seven, I would say the 7 criteria, or the 7 tattva, that's a good word, the 7 features of the Absolute. And now we are back into your homework, basically. I just wanted to touch on this before we start. Okay, the first question is the knowledge of the categories. If you go to your verse, it's quite early in the purport. The purport is very lengthy. We are learning that Lord Krishna is Janmanyasya Yato. Everything comes from him. But then in the first paragraph, or second paragraph rather, in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. You see that, Harinishna?
Yes, I do.
So we have to remember that book was commented when? Do you know the date of the first canto, when it was commented by Srila Prabhupada?
No.
Before he left in India, it was.
Oh yeah, it was 62.
62.
62. So we could say he was at the maturity of his realization, just like yesterday. He didn't write it in 1935 or something. No, 62. He took sannyas in 59. He had left his family life. He was at practically the epitome of his career, in the sense that he was ready to go to America 3 years from now. And he knew, someone had told him, magazine is fine, but books are better. He got the clue. Yes, you're right, thank you. Then he embarked on translating Srimad Bhagavatam and commented. And he had no money. Remember, 62, Prabhupada is abjectly poor. Going up and down to Delhi, hardly any. He had to, scrapping money just to print out. And he has a credit with the printer. I mean, these are hardships days. The printer is telling, he had to feed Srila Prabhupada. He would come to the printer with empty belly. And this is the state of affair.
He would
I've
even
been-
walk.
Sorry?
He would even walk to the printing press just to save some money.
Yeah. In my when I got married the second time, I don't know if you know Sundar Padmanabh Goswami in
I don't know him. Radharaman Temple.
Yes.
Radharaman Temple.
Yeah. So he told me the story. I was taken aback. Now, if you go to Radharaman Mandir, it's no more Padmanabh Goswami. It's his son running the show.
Yeah, actually, I think he was the
in
one.
the day of Prabhupada, it was the father of Padmanabh Goswami running. And Padmanabh Goswami told me himself, I was blown away. He told me when he was a kid, he had seen Prabhupada begging in rags. Prabhupada was in rags. He was like a mendicant. We don't hear him that much, but he was begging for his food. He told me, so he went through a difficult time. We cannot even imagine. Those years were heavy. So we have to understand. Buddhajan told us the thing. He had put everything in the first canto, in case he leaves the body, just in case. He has put everything in the first canto. First canto is the most loaded book, 62, completed in 3 volumes in 62. So it was extremely loaded. It's extremely loaded book. This is the base. Padma Puran explained the Pada Padma. The 2 lotus feet, the first 2 cantos are compared to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is the footing of the Lord, first and second. You need to be fully rooted. This is first canto and second canto. So this canto is definitely a particular amongst the 12. We have to keep in mind. Okay, so let's carry on. If I drift away too far, you got me back. So let's go back to that sentence. In order to reach the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. What does it mean here?
I was not sure. I speculated something. Is it the 9 other subjects like Sarga, Visarga, and...
Yeah. Don't go that far. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Hare Nishta, would you like to add up? Do you agree with Sundar Prabhu?
Yes, totally.
Categories means substance. In other words, Vedanta Sutra explains Shakti Matayo Abeda. So Krishna is Shaktiman, Ashraya is 10th canto. By the way, 10th canto is 90 chapters. 90 by 4 is 360. There's 335 chapters. 10th canto is practically 1/4, close to 1/4 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. 1/4, 25%, perhaps 23. Because
how many you said? How many chapters you said? 10th canto?
90.
Now we have 90 chapters.
And the whole Bhagavatam is 335. So you can see, 89, 36. Un petit peu moins d'un quart. So Ashraya and the other 9 categories are scattered according to Jiva Goswami. As we discussed before, it is not chronological, but it is systematic. Okay. The maturity of Vyasadeva, I think we touched on it already. And one thing if you want to add up more things besides the homework questions, feel free to do so. Huh? Because this purport is so lengthy. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke 3 months on that book, on that 111. So even 2 hours, we don't really do justice to it. So if you feel, well, we didn't cover that part, you please tell me. It's a 2-way traffic. Huh? There's one sentence that struck me, and sometimes I'm really bewildered. Huh? I need your help. Because, for instance, this sentence, and above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities, mean they are jivas. And the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being. How do you understand? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth category, starting with the fourth paragraph, sorry, in Vedic literatures.
Mm-hmm.
And above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities. And the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being.
Well, I thought it was maybe referring to Shiva and then the Vaikuntavasis and Golokavasis, but
Yeah, you're right. Because see the tendency when we see living being, we assume it means Jivatma. But here it's interesting, Prabhupada doesn't assume that. He's referring to the fact that we are eternally distinct from one another. And
but that's why you put in the question you put over jivas.
yeah, so but actually I realized I was wrong because he's telling here the person of Godhead is also a similar living being. So yeah, so what I understand is in that context, living being in the word of Srila Prabhupada doesn't mean Shiva. At first sight, I thought that's what he meant. But since he wrote, and the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being, obviously he doesn't talk only about Jiva here. He talks about all types of beings.
Or the Purusha avatar.
Yeah, the Purusha avatars. Even you take Vaikuntha-Vasi, you know.
Yes.
Is also a jiva. Don't think you lose your jiva feature once you are liberated. One time I was with Bhaktividyapurna Maharaj in Mayapur, and I asked him this question. Maharaj, once we are reinstated into our Svarup Siddhi, you know, we go back to the spiritual world, we have regained our ontological position. We are totally, Maya is totally, she has no say anymore. We have been reclaimed by Krishna. We are back in the spiritual world, in our Swarup Siddhi. Then I venture to say, do we become Shakti Tattva? Because now we participate to the pleasure of Krishna fully. We have been touched by Ladini Shakti coming from Srimati Radharani herself. We are totally imbued with pure love of God. We can fully love Krishna. So that was perhaps a foolish question, but I asked it, you know. And what did Maharaj answer? Do we become Shakti Tattva or we retain our Jiva Ma nature, individuality?
We retain our individuality.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And Srila Prabhupada says in one class, even a gopi can fall down. So how do we understand that?
Well, even the gopis are not Shakti Tattva, no?
Some are.
Some are.
Like Srimati Radharani, obviously, Lalita, Vishaka, but some are Jivatmas.
That's one thing, but anyway, I think it's a question like I heard even Kanama Karma, he said that was his question, that our Shakti Tattva, seems that they don't have this potential of falling down. Still, you know, they love Krishna, and we always have this argument that, you know, in order to love, you have to have the free will to be able to fall down. So this is like destroying this argument when you say that Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and others, they cannot fall down actually.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they are.
But still, they love Krishna.
They are not Jivas. They are not Jivas.
Yeah, but that's the question. Why Krishna didn't make us all Shakti Tattva so that we don't fall down, you know?
Yeah, actually, if you ask me, as Jivatma, because we can misuse our free will, we can become even more endearing to Krishna as Jivatma, if you ask me, because Krishna knows this person can definitely turn his back. You don't see Nrsingadev or Matsya or Varahadev turning their back because they are plenary portion. They don't have this prerogative. But we, as Jiv, we can do so. So now if we purposefully remain obedient to Krishna, always choosing his camp, that makes us very endearing to Lord Krishna. So in other words, it's a great honor in one sense to be Jiv, because we are showing to Lord Krishna that every second we're making the right choice. Whereas, again, you don't see Srimati Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka acting in an antagonistic manner. Sometimes they do out of man. That's different. Within Bhakti Ras, out of love, they may be sulky towards Krishna. That's a different topic. But, we have this prerogative as we are Tatashta. So we are hovering from one bank to the river to the other bank. We have the choice. So if we keep on making the good choice, it's very much endearing to us to Krishna.
Can I share something?
Please, yeah, please.
Regarding the falling down of Jiva or even the gopis, what I learned from Bibi Bhagwat Maharaj is even that falling is, he explained that in the service of Krishna, if a gopi because of some reason, delayed to perform the service at the particular time, and somehow the another gopi got angry, so the gopi falls down, but the falling down is just like a second compared to the material time calculation. And just after that second, she resumes her duty. Same like us. We might feel it's such a long time here, but in the spiritual world, it's just a fraction of second that we are away from Krishna.
Oh, okay. Who said that again?
Bibi Bhagwat
Govinda
Maharaj.
Bibi Govinda Maharaj.
Bhakti Brihad Bhagwat Maharaj.
Yeah, Bibi Govinda. Okay, Bhakti Govinda Maharaj.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bhakti Brihad Bhagwat Maharaj.
Oh, sorry, Brihad Bridanga, ex Brihad Bridanga Prabhu. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, interesting angle. Okay, so let's move on. Then obviously, page 42, I think we have the same book, same edition, hopefully. This is a very important topic. Times and times again, Srila Prabhupada is warning us not to equate the loving affairs of Radha Krishna with the mundane stories done here in this world. So what is the nature of the love affairs of Radha and Krishna and the gopis? We know it, but it's a good remembrance to always hammer the point home.
Well, I took the words of Prabhupada in the purport of the verse you quoted, most confidential and highly spiritual.
Yeah.
Most confidential. It's like I liked it, most confidential and highly spiritual.
Yes, definitely. Nishta, would you like to add up anything?
I did the same. It's devoid of all mundane intoxication, which is devoid of soberness. I mean, what I understood, it's original pure sex life, which I don't understand.
Yeah, when it comes to Lord Krishna, the absolute truth, there's always portion we don't fully conceive as yet. Huh?
Yeah.
Swarup Damodar Gosai has written a verse which appears in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Rasmat. Vikriti means transformation. They are transformation, their loving affairs are transformation of Ladini Shakti. So our loving affairs are transformation of lust, but for Radha Krishna is transformation of Ladini Shakti. Ekat manavapi bhuvi bura deyam gadam katuto Chaitanya Kyam Prakatamaduna, Shekyamaptam, Radhabhav Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Svarupam. And of course, being Svarup Damodar Gosai, it goes on to say that they have two separate identities. They have two separate forms, but one identity. So we should not belittle Srimati Radharani, thinking she's lower than Krishna. It is the same identity. Two forms for the sake of relishing races. But Svarup Damodar Gosai explained, again, Ekat Manavapi, Chaitanya Kyam Prakatamaduna, again they have reunited in the form of Mahaprabhu. So this Mahaprabhu is not avatar, is avatari. I never understood why. Oftentimes it ruffles my grain, if you ask me. We say Mahaprabhu, avatar, love of, how do you say, incarnation of God, No, it's avatari. Radhabhav Duti Suvaritam Nomi Krishna Svarupam is Krishna Svarup himself. Is Krishna Svarup. Svarup, his own form, is the own form of Lord Krishna. Radhabhav Duti Suvaritam, he has taken the bhav of Radha and the Duti, the complexion. But we are lucky in this Kali Yuga because he's not only avatar, he's avatari. Anyway, I don't want to go on like this, but do you have anything to say on this question? Living affairs. Next. Who can really transcendentally the Srimad Bhagavatam? It's mentioned, this is dealing here. Yes.
One.
It's mentioned when he talks about the gopis, he goes on to say that Srila Vyasadeva gives the reader a chance to gradually develop spiritual realization. Because remember, we're going to come to that in the second verse.
When I found out liberated persons or Paramahamsas.
Yes.
No, Paramahamsas.
Actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam, strictly speaking, is not meant for us. Yeah. This is amazing. We will discuss about that in the third verse also.
So we quit?
No, because number 3 is very clear. Nigamakal patalo galitam phalam shuka mukha dravita dravyasanutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhura horasika bhuvi bhavukaha, because it has been touched by the beak of Shuka. Shuka means parrot. Parrot of Srimati Radharani. It has become relishable, even further relishable. But otherwise, strictly speaking, it is meant for the liberated souls. In other words, it's only by the grace of Prabhupada. I mean, who are we born in the West on top of that? Videshis, to access to the highest Nigamakal Patalo Galitam Phalam, which is the mature fruit of all Vedic scriptures. This is only the sheer grace of Prabhupada. That is why, what is the Atmarama verse? Spoken 64 times by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is the same topic. Atmarama Shamunayo. You know that verse, Sundar Prabhu?
Atmanamas Chamunayo Nigranta Pirukame
Kuvantiye Aitukim
Bhakti
Tambuta Gunohari. This verse is key, spoken by Sutta Goswami, Sutta Ovacha. Even the Atmarama, they are self-contented. Yet, Atmakam, yet Itam Bhuta Guno Hari, they are attracted by the guna, the qualities of Hari. Even though they are Brahmabhut, they are Nirgun, just like the 4 Kumars, they smell the tulsi leaves on the threshold of Vaikuntha. So, yes, we can relish transcendentally, everyone, provided there's a key, there's a string attached. We can relish transcendentally. We will learn in the second verse, Nirmat Saranam Satam. Nirmat Saranam Satam. If we are pure in heart and sincere. Or we may say, well, we're not pure in heart as yet, but if we are tending towards that.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it's mentioned those who are Atmarama,
Yes.
like Paramhansa. So us studying, me studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Atmarama is also definition of one who is free from all kinds of material bondage, who is able to render unalloyed devotional service. So as long as we are in this material body, does that mean we cannot relish Srimad Bhagavatam completely?
No, Alinishta. The more you surrender, the more you will be able to relish. But you cannot, just like you cannot fully grasp Lord Krishna unless he reveals himself.
Okay.
Nayamatma pravachanena labyo na medaya na bahuna shrutena yamevesha vivinute tanum swam. Unless he reveals himself, he condescends to reveal himself. To that proportion, you can realize. But Srimad Bhagavatam is unlimited. Remember, when Lord Brahma discusses philosophy, Tattva Jigyasa, and they have sometimes discourses, it's called Ishtagoshti, even in Brahmalok. The personified scriptures come about in the court. Can you imagine? You have Taittiriya Upanishad coming, it's a personality. You have Shvetashvatara Upanishad, you have Agni Puran, and then who comes last? The Srimad Bhagavatam personified appears. It's a personality. So now we are dealing with the books, but there's a personality behind. It's a personality. So that personality is just like Lord Krishna, it's not different. Just like the holy name, Abhinadvam Nama Naminoho, it will reveal himself as we surrender. This is the same old process. Whichever Bhakti Yoga you're dealing with, Shrimbatam Svakata Krishna, Shrimbatam, that verse of Prahlad, Shrimbatam, Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu, yes. All these angas will definitely manifest themselves as we surrender. So here we are into the first anga, Shravanam. So this is the sky is the limit. What do you think? Some devotees are extremely empowered to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. For instance, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, it's mentioned he would recite the Srimad Bhagavatam in 3 different meters. The birds will stop singing, chirping, just to listen. So just imagine how much is relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Even in ISKCON today, there's some great proponents of Srimad Bhagavatam. Buddhism Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, and so many. By the way, I didn't finish, you didn't even notice when I was talking about the Mangala Charan. We discussed about the first component, Vastu Nirdesh, definitely. What is the second portion of the Mangala Charan? Ashirvad. What's the meaning of Ashirvad? The verse is Adi 122.
Invoke blessing.
Yes. Ashirvad means blessing. I had a brother-in-law, Ashish. His name was Ashish. Ashirvad. You have seen the Bhagavatam is full of blessings, Shrutifal. The whole Bhagavatam is full of Shrutifal. If you listen to that chapter, my dear friends, you will develop freedom from sins. You will develop love of God. Did you notice at the end of each chapter? And right here, in those first three verses, look at this. Number 2, as soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within the heart. Isn't that Ashirvad? Isn't that Shrutifal?
Yes.
You know, then all the pap, all the sins are gone. I mean, do you know any more how can you get more blessings, if you ask me? It's all in one, it's all encompassing, Srimad Bhagavatam. You're learning about Krishna, you're getting purified. It's all encompassing. What is the need of any other? Kim Pararishvara 112, what is the need of any other scriptures? This is all in one. Okay, so Ashirvad, and the third component, Namaskar. This is the third component of a Mangalachana. Namaskar.
Offer obeisance.
Yeah. We obviously, in front of such a lofty book, what else can we do? Keep on offering. Even Vyasadeva. Satyam Param Dimahi. This is plural form Dimahi, by the way. Is enticing us, please offer your obeisances. We're talking about Param Satyam Dimahi. Meditate on him, absorb yourself. So he's taking us. He's taking all the Jivatmas. Please offer your obeisances. One time in 71 in Gorakhpur, Srila Prabhupada, that was with the puja of his Guru Maharaj, very early in ISKCON. And what did he do that day? He offered this verse, 111, to his Guru Maharaj. And he told his disciples in Gorakhpur, you please join with me. You please join me. Let's surrender to that verse. Let's offer our prayers. You join me, he told his disciples. We have to offer that our pranam to Vyasadeva, and then he's going to offer to Lord Krishna. This is the process. So it's like a call. It's a wake-up call. This verse. Everyone should. This is the door. If you ask me, of the spiritual world, this verse. You enter into the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the threshold. So it's a very important verse.
So Prabhu,
yes,
sorry.
Yes,
This Mangala Charana, you said, refers to the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, the 3rd verse, number 3.
Yes.
In which, is it what? Is it Vastu Nirdesh?
Well, the Vastu Nirdesh obviously appears very clearly in 111.
Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yeah.
Then, now, talking about Ashirvad, look it up. There's Ashirvad means boons, benedictions. So in 2, definitely there is benedictions given to the reader. It propounds the highest truth. This is a boon. It approves the threefold miseries. That's a boon. That's an Ashirvad. And then number 3 again, there's more Ashirvad. The Lord is established within the heart. That's an Ashirvad right here. And now in terms of Namaskar, well, it's all over the place. You have especially 111. 111, Vyasadeva is offering, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I meditate upon him.
These 3 components,
Yes.
are they also connected to, what I learned a little bit is about the first verse is about Sambandha Jnana. that when we are, the first verse is, as you mentioned, when we are offering obeisance, is we are establishing relationship. Is
Yes.
it? And then the second verse is abhidhyaya jnana.
Yeah, you can also
And,
break it down like this if you want.
and the third one is prayojana. Oh,
Well, where did you get that from? Who told you?
I was listening to one lecture
Okay.
by one of the devotees of Chaupati.
Okay.
So what I understood is the three verses, just what I mentioned. The first one is to establish the relationship, and second abhidhyaya, third prayojana. I didn't go too much in detail though.
Okay. In Mahaprabhu conversing with Prakashanand Sarasvati, he says Satyam Param Dimahi. According to Mahaprabhu, Satyam Param. This is basically the Svarup Lakshan, it's called in Sanskrit. The main, this is Vastu Nirdesh, the Svarup Lakshan, the main characteristic is Satyam Param. Then obviously Mahaprabhu says this is Sambandha. We are establishing our Sambandha. Dimahi. So we meditate, we meditate to reawaken our Sambandha, our relationship.
Mhm.
But there is also definitely Abhidhyaya and Prayojan, because it is enticing us to engage into devotional service. You know,
Mhm.
like for instance,
Yeah.
listen to 2. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message, this is Shravanam. So we're talking about Abhidhyaya here.
Mhm.
And then it's Prayojan also, because by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within the heart. So
Mhm.
obviously, if the Lord establishes himself in the heart, means we have developed love of God.
Mhm.
So let's try to move on a little bit. Sixth question. What is the adhikar of Brahmanas to chant Gayatri? Did you notice at one point Srila Prabhupada discussed about Gayatri? What does he bring Gayatri in the picture, by the way?
Well, because of this Dimai.
Yes. Dimahe is a plural form. Huh? So, in other words, we have to remember, as I told you in the beginning of the class, that the Chatur Shloki comes from the Gayatri, who in turn comes from the flute. So, Gayatri is the source of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it's so important. It is intimately connected. I found a quote. First of all, 1035 Gita. It says there, Krishna says, I'm the Gayatri. And there's a whole purport there coming from Jiva Goswami, Tattva Sandarbha. Of course, I'm not going to digress too long because it's extremely lengthy. But in essence, he's saying the Gayatri Mantra is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam because the Gayatri Mantra is especially meant for God realization. It represents the Supreme Lord. This mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. And when one attains success in chanting it, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must first acquire the qualities. That's Prabhupada speaking, actually, in the purport. But he's quoting Jiva Goswami, and then further again into that conversation with Prakashanand Sarasvati and Mahaprabhu, the meaning of the syllable Om is contained in the Gayatri. And the meaning of the Gayatri is explained in the Chatur Shloki, which were handed down from Ishvar is Krishna, to Brahma, Narad, Vyas. So definitely, this is connected. Jiva Goswami quotes Matsya Puran Matsya Puran, that is to be known as the Bhagavat, which basing itself on the Gayatri describes Dharma in all its fullness, and which narrates the slaying of the Asura Vrita. Yes. I was asking this question also. What does Vritrasur come in the picture here? Because it's mentioned in Matsya Puran. In Matsya Puran, the story of Vritrasur is mentioned in regard to Gayatri. I don't know if you know, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that Vritrasur is one of the highest devotees of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very, very advanced devotee. In his previous life, he was Chitraketu. Actually, he was Vijayadharapati. Then he got cursed by Parvati. He became Vitrasur. Then Chitraketu. Then he went back to Galet. So, very advanced person. Okay. So now, next question. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Svarup of the Lord manifested by his Atma Mayaya. That's a lofty sentence. How do you understand this sentence? Actually, Prabhupada explained himself afterwards. Huh?
Yeah, I didn't really find the words of Prabhupada explaining this. Maybe I missed them. But
it is page 42, Prabhu. Last paragraph below. Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Svarupa of the Lord manifested by his internal potency.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
And this potency is distinguished from etc. So we know the philosophy. What can we say?
Well, that this is the Srimad Bhagavatam reveals Krishna's name, pastimes, entourage, abode, which are all manifested by his internal potency. No? It's like,
yeah. In other words, it reminds me of 4.6. Prakritim svamadishtaya. And Krishna says in 4.6, I'm situated in my own prakriti. Atmas sambhavyam atma mayaya. 4.6. In other words, he doesn't have to borrow matter to live. He himself comes as he is. You know, is prakritim svam adishtaya. I'm situated in my own prakriti. I don't have to borrow matter to make myself a body like you. So this is, I would say, the answer. And Bhagavatam is dealing with that internal potency, that feature of the Lord, which is Param Satyam, the highest. So he is the highest. Satyam Param Dimahi. Swayam Bhagwan, we say in Sanskrit. Swayam Bhagwan, this is the Vrindavan Krishna. Yashoda Mayi, Yashoda Nandan, Nanda Nandan. This is the Swayam Bhagwan.
Which verse is the one you said, Prakritim Svamadishtaya?
This is 4.6, Prabhu.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, I was telling Sundar today, when I quote two figures, it refers to the Gita, and when I quote three figures, it refers to Bhagavatam. Sometimes I'm a bit, I tend to abbreviate. That's one of my problems. If I say 1326 means Gita. If I say 2329, it means Bhagavatam, obviously. So, and the rest, it says here, the external potency, Madhyadakshina Prakriti, it makes up for the material world, basically. The cosmic world is the byproduct of the material energy. But Krishna says, I'm behind the two. 7.7.7.6. He says, I'm behind Paraprakriti, Arjun, and I'm behind Apara Prakriti. I'm the source of both. So this is the greatness of Bhagavatam. We Satyam Param, okay? But this is Svarup Lakshan, but also all the Tatashta Lakshan. Just like Gauranga told us, these 7 features of the absolute truth, these are the Tatashta Lakshan, meaning marginal characteristics, his knowledge of his activities, Janmadhyasya Yato, Anvayad, Itaratash, is directly, indirectly aware, Abhigya is all knowing, Svarat is independent. Tine Brahma Hridayi Kavaye, he has given knowledge to Brahma so he can in turn do Visarga, the secondary creation. But his personal energy is separated from Maya. This is the point of Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. He is separated from Maya. I think I'm just pushing open doors here. You know all these things.
Oh, that's nice.
You know. So now this is my favorite question, I would say. This will come up in the exam because it is a beautiful question. If you look at the Sanskrit, let me turn the light on. It's getting dark. See, it's very interesting. The Sanskrit is so beautiful in that verse. Look, Tejo Vadimiram Yata Vinimayo Yatra Krisago Mrisha. This is the keyword, Amrisha. What's the meaning? Arinishta? Amrisha.
Amrisha means something that which is not real but appears to be real.
Yes. Good. So let's discuss. Because this is, see, Vyasadeva is so expert. He could have said, this is false. If he had said this is false. Tejo Variminam Yata means what? Whatever we see in this world is a transformation of the modes, isn't it? Starting with water, fire, Tejo Variminam Yata. Okay? But then he goes, Amrisha. If he had said, just like the Mayavadis, Satyam, what is it? Everything is false. Satyam, how does it go in Sanskrit?
Brahma Satyam.
Jagan Mithya. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. If he had said it's false, is a Mayavad. If he had said it's real, is a boogie, is a materialist. So what did he say? Amrisha. This is so neat, if you ask me, because Sanskrit is so precise, almost real. What does he say? Almost real.
It's like the reflection of the light in darkness, or the mirage in the desert. Exactly. They are both reflection of reality, but because they are not permanent, they have no real substance.
Excellent. 100% on your question, Prabhu. So, of course, I was giving the clue. 2934, this is one of the Shatushloki. Litirtam yad pratiyeta, nad pratiyeta chatmani, tad vidyat atmano mayam yata baso yata tamaha. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, it has no reality. Just like 216, nasato vidyate bhava, nabhava vidyate sataha. Krishna Prabhupada translate like this. It doesn't exist. If it keeps on changing, it's asat, 216, look it up. It doesn't exist. Practically, it sounds Mayavad. It doesn't exist in English, it says. In the sense that it is asat, in the sense that it is always changing. In that sense, it doesn't exist. Whereas, whatever is eternal is sat. It always exists. So you can see the line is very close between pure Vaishnavism and Mayavad. Very close. If he had said Mrisha means real, finished, is off. If he had said Satyam, what is that verse again?
Brahma Satyam.
Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. If he had said that, is a Mayavad. So you can see the expertise of Vyasadeva, Amrisha. just between the two. Just like the banyan tree in the 15th chapter of the Gita, the reflection of the apple on the water, you cannot say it's a false reflection. You cannot say it's a real reflection also. It's a real, I'm sorry, it's a real object also. It indicates where is the real object, meaning on the bank of the water, there is an apple tree. This is the real object. So the reflection, and actually Krishna is so expert in the 15th chapter, he says, the water stands for, you know, he gives a big analogy, the tree, the hymns of the Vedas are the twigs. And when it goes to the water, it stands for
Desire.
desire. If there is no wayward desires of the living entity, there is no material world. Let's put it this way. This material world only exists because there is water. If there is no water, there's no reflection. If there is no wayward desires of the living entity, there is no material world. As simple as that. This is put in a very condensed manner, but this is what it is. There is no material world. Why this material exists? Just to accommodate the myriads of multifarious desires of the living entities. As simple as that. 8.4 million species of life. Just to accommodate them, we have Brahma has to play the part of being second creator. Otherwise, there's no need. You know, this is a reminder for us what we have to do. Okay, Amrisha. Then Anvayat Itarata, and it's part of the Tashtata Lakshana, the marginal characteristics. Directly, indirectly. What is it? Srila Prabhupada goes at great lengths to explain that. How would you explain that, Harinishta Vividasi? How come God is directly and indirectly? We could ponder, well, it's directly, but why indirectly?
Well, I took the example of like a chief engineer.
Yes.
I mean, he knows every detail about the construction and everything, but he himself is not directly involved.
Okay. Yeah. Hands-on, have you heard this expression? Hands-off management. Hands-off management. Like Radhanath Swami is like that. Hands-off management. In other words, he doesn't have his hand in the management, but he's behind everything.
That's a good manager.
This is a very good manager. He has multi-crore Pati disciples in Mumbai, even elsewhere, but he himself doesn't have a phone number. He just tells Gauranga or the big boys there, Radheshyam and all, please call this one. And he's getting $50 million in one go. But
And
he himself, sorry?
And he called for New Manipur.
Actually, I tried to call Gauranga. I've got his number. He never called me back. I guess we are too small. But this is heads of management. He's aware of everything. Radhanath Maharaj must be also aware of his yatra and everything what's happening. He has no cars, no bank account, no phone call, no mobile phone. So Krishna in the same way delegates. Even the Vishnu, they are delegators. They are engaged in work, the Vishnus. Have you seen Lord Krishna working? Is Lila Purushottam? So I think it's quite obvious. You are already seasoned devotees. You are in the Bhakti Vibhav. Then interactions of two energies. There's nothing new. Interactions of two energies. It appears in the purport. And sometimes to help you, I give you some cross-reference quotes from the Gita. Whatever we see, it's nothing new, 1327. Whatever we see is a combination of the Kshetra and the Kshetragya. We are the Jiva living Kshetragya. We are moving the body. So whatever we see is a combination of the two, 1327. But he, Krishna, is behind the two, 7.6. You stop me if you don't understand anything, but I think it's quite obvious. Then there's a very, it's quite a particular sentence. This is number 11 in the question. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth, but at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. See, Prabhupada has the power, especially in the Sri Isha also, he has the power to capture the essence of the philosophy in one sentence. This is the power of a pure devotee. Is empowered. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth. At the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. Practically, you can write a book on this sentence. So what does it mean? The second portion is kind of understandable. Just like Ishopanishad, I think it's 2. Sambhutim, Asambhuti. He explains the Sambhutyam. Sambhuti is Krishna, Ishvara. And all the others, Asambhuti, they are dependent. The demigods even, they are dependent on the Sambhutyam, on Krishna. We are dependent on him. But the first question, the first part of the sentence is a bit nagging. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth.
Well, this refers to quantity and quality, no, I guess. It's like Prabhupada gives the example of the gold necklace made of the gold mine.
Yeah.
It's equal in quality. But and also, but because it has its source in the gold mine, it is dependent upon the gold mine. It has no independent existence.
Yes, very good answer, Prabhu. Yeah. I think it's connected to the first question I gave you the other day, last time. God, there's something higher than God. Remember in the beginning of the introduction? Prabhupada starts like this, Look it up. Introduction of the first canto. It's a mind-boggling sentence also. He says, the conception of God and the conception of the absolute truth are not on the same level. Very interesting sentence. How do you understand that?
Absolute truth means not only God, but God with all his Shaktis, and so it's complete. It's
exactly.
Just like...
That is why, and I would the answer I was expecting is Panchatattva. What is the pranam of Panchatattva? Mahatmanas to trying to remember now. Panchatattvam Bakam Krishna Bhaktarupam Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhatak Shaktikyam. Mahaprabhu is not alone. We could say, okay, Mahaprabhu is God, finish. No. He's coming with Panchatattva. There is Bhaktarup, okay, Mahaprabhu. There is Bhaktavatar, Nityananda Prabhu. There is Bhakta, what is it? So let's start again. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupam. Bhaktarup is Mahaprabhu. Bhaktavataram, this is Advaita, I believe. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupam Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam. Bhakta Shakti, Shaktikyam means Gadadhar, Shakti Tattva. All the Shakti Tattva are there within Gadadhar. starting with Srimati Radharani. And then Narad represents Srivas Pandit, Srivas Thakur. All the jivas are there behind. So Panchatattva, you have all the Shaktis. You have Vishnu Tattva, you have Shakti Tattva, you have Jiva Tattva. That is why Prabhupada says, even more so than Radha Krishna in Kali Yuga, we should meditate on Panchatattva. Because otherwise you cannot access Radha Krishna without the mercy of the Panchatattva. That is why we should preach more, if you ask me, Gaur Nitai, Panchatattva, than Radha Krishna in Kali Yuga. Isn't it true, Sundar Prabhu?
Yeah, I mean, do what they ask us. The Panchatattva ask us to chant Hare Krishna. So we sit in front of Prabhupada. I think I saw he said it's enough to sit in front of the Panchatattva picture you put and you chant Hare Krishna and the whole thing is complete.
Yeah, exactly. And he says also the Panchatattva mantra is more powerful than the mantra Hare Krishna. You know that? And he goes, yes, but we chant Hare Krishna because Mahaprabhu told us. But technically speaking, it is more powerful. Panchatattva mantra. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Svarat. So I was being the devil's advocate here because, okay, Svarat. But 9.4.63, I was kind of nagging you a little bit here. Remember Durvas Muni, 9th canto, goes back to he has offended Maharaj Ambarish. The chakra is cursing him, is on his steps, on his foot, behind him. Then he goes to Vaikuntha. Please, my dear Lord Narayan, help me. What is the answer? Aham Bhakta Paradino. Aham Bhakta Paradino. Means I'm totally dependent. I'm totally dependent. And he's saying here, Svarat, how do you reconcile? He says, look it up, 9.4.63. Yasva Tantra Dvija, Yasva Tantra Dvija. I'm totally dependent on the will of my devotees. I'm even dependent on the devotee of my devotee. Sadhubir Grastalidayo, Bhakter Bhaktajana Priya. There was one devotee in Mayapur, Bhaktajan Priya, I remember. I'm not only dependent on my devotee, I'm dependent on the devotee of my devotee. And in 111, we hear Abhigya, Svarat. So you can see the apparent contradiction, but we can explain. How can you explain Adinishta?
Yeah, I mean that makes Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no? It can be. I mean the verse 9.4.63 so beautifully Prabhupada mentions how Krishna is not at all independent.
Yeah.
Yet the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is very clear about how Krishna is completely independent. That makes Krishna attractive, and
yes, so in a very good answer, wonderful. In the realm of Shrishti Tattva is Svarat. We are talking about Shrishti Tattva here. Shrishti Tattva means creation Tattva. Okay? But in the realm of Bhakti Ras, Tattva is obviously dependent on his pure, on the love of his pure devotee. So this is the answer, basically. Okay. Difference between man and God, nothing new. Prabhupada gives the example of the car, I think, the parts, the car parts. It sounds like Sri Upanishad a little bit. Remember, he wrote Sri Upanishad in 60. I mean, he commented upon Sri. And in 62, he commented upon the first canto. So he's still very much in the same, the same, it's the same time, the same epoch, 60, 62. We find lots of similarities between the first slok of the Bhagavatam and Sri Isho, I find it, because I teach Sri Isho a lot, so it sounds familiar to me. Well, it's quite obvious. He goes, the male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. Men can do that. If you go to Renault or Peugeot, they can, you find machineries, they can build a car. All the parts are put together without the intervention of men. But, next sentence, if a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. You don't see cars on their own coming up with baby cars, for instance. No. So matter cannot move on its own. It has la vie vient de la vie. It has to be the intervention of the Kshetragya needs to be there. Yeah, sometimes I just share some statement. Matsya Puran is oldest. I didn't know that, so it struck me. Then the history of Vitrasur, I found the answer in Matsya Puran. It's mentioned there in regard to Gayatri. Now let's finish with that key question. Adiras. This is a very important part of the first verse of Bhagavatam. Would you like to explain, Sundar Prabhu, how is impersonalism connected with modern sex life?
So I wrote about that by overstressing the impersonality of the absolute truth, Mayavadis have encouraged modern sex life. Material sex life is a perverted reflection of the pure spiritual sex life found in the original personality of Godhead. Without the absolute personality of Godhead, there cannot be absolute sex life. So all what one is left with is modern perverted sex life, and something is better than nothing. So people go for it, because this or nothing, something is better than nothing. I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
like,
it's good answered. You agree, Hari Nishta Devidasi?
Yes.
You want to add up anything?
No, it's understood the fact that the impersonalists, they reject the supreme absolute to be a person. So they cannot make distinction between perverted sex life and pure spiritual sex life, because as Prabhu mentioned,
one time Srila Prabhupada is crossing his path in Mumbai. There's, those famous pandal in 71. Actually, Radhanath Maharaj kind of joined there. He's crossing his pathway. It's a huge pandal. I mean, there's a big space to cross over before reaching the stage. And one devotee is parting the pathway he has to cut through the crowd. They are sitting on the floor, basically. He has definitely to make them move aside a little bit so that Prabhupada can make his way. And at one point, Prabhupada stops and he turns around like this. And he said, "This is my sex life." Meaning all these people, meaning I'm preaching to them love of God, surrender to Krishna. This is my sex life. So the way I understand it is helping Srimati Radharani to bring jiva souls to her lotus feet through via the Parampara, of course, Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc. So that is the sex life of pure devotees, giving pleasure to Radha Krishna in the name of preaching, bringing souls back to the Godhead. This is love of Godhead. You're giving love of Godhead to them. So you are expanding the love that Srimati Radharani has for Krishna by bringing more souls to her, which in turn she will offer to Lord Krishna. And for that matter, that is why Mahaprabhu came to release that love, because he could not fully understand. So he had to borrow Radhabhav Duti Suvaritam Nome Krishna Swarupam. He had to partake the mood and the duty of Radharani in order to fully understand the magnitude of her love. I remember when I joined ISKCON, this is one thing I understood very early. Because I told you before, I think, I was into the world of salesmanship. You know, you have to sell, you have to convince people, and you are good at it, and you make money out of it. So, you know, it makes sense. But when I met Panchatattva, I was judging him in terms of salesmanship. And I could see he's a very good salesman still today. You know, and I could see, and I found out later, he doesn't get any commission. So then I was taken aback. Well, what is it? What is it? There must be something that drives him to speak so well. He has a convincing power. What is it? Then after I joined, I understood through the philosophy. Basically, when we sell something, a service, a particular product, this is the perverted reflection of preaching. When you preach Krishna consciousness, this is pure preaching. You don't try to sell anything separate from Krishna. You sell Krishna, basically. You sell Radha and Krishna. This is pure preaching. This is pure salesmanship. So, you know what I'm saying? And then that's why I joined ISKCON, actually. I understood this person is doing salesmanship like me, but he has understood the purity of salesmanship. I haven't understood that. Why? In order to sell, I'm getting commissions. So my boss has to encourage me to sell by giving me money. So he must be selling, which is, then I understood, he must be selling something which is pure because he doesn't get any money out of it. And that intrigued me. And then I joined ISKCON like that. That was my first realization. He must be having something pure because he doesn't ask any money for it. You understand the philosophy behind it? And Panchatattva was definitely very instrumental. Is my, I would say, Vatma Padashata Guru. He's still alive. He lives in the south of France. So in the same way, when we, you know, these love affairs down here, this is perverted reflection of love of Godhead. What is sex life? This is perverted reflection of love of Godhead. Because the man is trying to imitate Krishna, and the woman is trying to imitate Radha. So now, if we become subservient, because we are Jiv, we are Prakriti. Krishna says 7.5, Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho, Yajidam Dayate Jagat. We are Jiva Bhuta, we are Para, we are Prakriti. So if we don't act as Purush, but as Prakriti, then we are subordinate, subservient to whom? Well, to Srimati Radharani, to Mahaprabhu, or to Panchatattva. And then we are being enjoyed. Prabhupada said we are meant to be enjoyed. Very interesting sentence. We are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Very interesting sentence. We are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Just like a wife is meant to be enjoyed by the husband. So we are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna means we are meant to play our part as being enjoyed by Krishna. And if we play our part well, then we please Krishna. So you know, this is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. What to speak when we'll be in direct touch with Krishna? We're going to be pleasing Krishna because we will be reinstated in our Svarupi. We'll have pure love. Now we are just trying, we are just attempting to please Krishna, but since we are not empowered or we're not as yet pure devotee, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's tedious, because we are traversing the land of anartha nivritti, getting purified, and it's a long traverse, it's a long journey. It can be in 1 second we can go through that desert, but oftentimes it takes a long time. Yes, Rinishta?
Yeah, I was when you mentioned that we are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna, is it that when we are serving Krishna with love and devotion, we are enjoyed by Krishna, or is it something that will happen when we'll go back home, back to Godhead? I mean, I don't.
From what I understood, the verse is there, Mam Sayuga Bicharina Bhakti Yogena Sivate, 1426. Once we are nirgun, once we are into unflinching bhakti, Charini bhakti, then we can start fully pleasing Krishna. What to speak once we have been reinstated in our Svarup? It's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. You get Ladini Shakti, some drops of Ladini Shakti coming from Srimati Radharani. Then actually you really love Krishna. Now we are attempting, it's all glorious to us. We're attempting. But we're not fully realized. So, we can please Guru. Yes, we should actually go for Guru mostly. By pleasing Guru, we know we please Krishna. We cannot go wrong with this philosophy. You please Guru, you please Krishna. But to please Krishna directly, as we are now, it's a big challenge. That is why we should go through Guru Prabhupada, that's safer and more, I would say, logical. What do you say, Sundar Prabhu?
I agree. I read also yesterday, Prabhupada said that even the gopis, they take more pleasure in uniting Radha Krishna than being directly with Krishna. And Prabhupada gives the example of watering the tree and then all the leaves and branches are. So he said the gopis, they are like branches and leaves and twigs, and Radha Krishna, they are the root. It's like mind blowing how just this divine couple, they are basically the only enjoyers actually, and every living entity is supposed to serve their enjoyment. But we see this tendency, when even in books and movies, and people are always looking for this romance of a couple, like a perfect couple, and we like to hear about the perfect couple. Seems like just to hear about the perfect couple is like very satisfying, it's like.
Yeah, because actually God is a couple. I always say that to laymen and outsiders, I say God is a couple.
Arabic people? Muslims?
Well, I hardly preach to them. But I mean, I notice they have a nice reaction. I tell him God is a couple. Why do you think we are attracted by the opposite gender? I tell him or her. Because it is natural. God is a couple. But they are pure. They don't have to go through the body to enjoy. They don't have material bodies. People can relate to that. When you tell them God is a couple, they like it, I notice. Because they keep that couple image in mind, So I like it. Tell me more. So this way we don't separate Radha Krishna. Okay. So personally, I finished, unless you have anything to say. I know we could cover, as I said, we could spend times and times on this verse. But, I tried to give it justice in the 2 hours with your help. What to do. Okay, so do you have any questions before we part? I would say now the question is, we'll do 2 and 3 together. What do you think? It's good that we take advice from each other, because obviously those 3 verses are quite lofty. What do you think, Sundar? I should merge the 2 and 3 in one go?
I don't know your schedule, Prabhu. How you? I mean, you are calculating to do all this on 2 years, so you must have a plan because.
Yeah, no, and not 2 years, 3 years and 1/4 to be precise.
3 years and 1/4.
6 cantos in 3 years, 1/4. I broke it down. You can see already, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't follow the book. If MI in Mayapur we've done the 3 verses in 2 hours. It's personally, I don't relate to that.
It's rushing.
I mean,
Yeah,
3 verses in 2 hours. Come on. I mean, of course, you may speak. I remember one sannyasi he's got a PhD in math.
Oh yes, from Peru or something.
Yeah, from he's American, but he preaches in South America.
Mm.
I was there. He has done the 12 cantos in 3 hours. I mean, he has done a good job. I mean, it's a different task. 3 hours, 12 cantos.
Bhakti Baba?
No. He gave a seminar long back, 25 years ago, I remember, at least in Vrindavan. He came and said, okay, let's have another view, the bird's view.
He's the king of acronism, no?
He's very good in maths. I was struck with wonder. I forgot his name. He preaches in South America, American-bodied, white-bodied. It's possible. Bhagavatam in 12 cantos, 2-3 hours. Anyway, so we'll meet on Wednesday. I will think further about that. What you do, read 2 and 3, and I will send you some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And you can always try to preach to get more students, if you know anyone, provided they have Bhakti Shastri.
Oh,
I will try to get hold of some members in Mauritius after Kartik.
maybe after Kartik it will be easier.
Very easier, yeah.
Kartik is like a break for many devotees. They go in different things. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you so much.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I'll send you the recording. Yeah?
Thank you.